You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.
Welcome to the Hot Options Report, your premier source for insight into the fast-moving options market. Each day, we'll track down the products that are dominating the options chains and impacting your trading account. From Apple to VIX and everything in between, if it's lighting up the options tape, then you'll find it on the Hot Options Report. And now, get ready to scan the tape for the most explosive options activity on the street. It's time for the Hot Options Report.
All right, everybody, that music means we are back. It is time to rock out once again on the Hot Options Report for Thursday, September 25th. My name, of course, Mark Longo from theoptionsinsider.com. Reminding you at the top of the show, wherever you're listening to this, make sure you're listening to the full Options Insider Radio Network. Over a dozen shows coming at you. And, of course, if you need more in your lives, if you like this kind of flow breakdown, you want to dive into some unusual activity, we do a whole bunch of that, including breaking research on unusual activity before the rest of the folks get their hands on it. Our pro folks got it on Tuesday there. You can check it out. Theoptionsinsider.com/pro is the place to go to get your hands on that research, our unusual activity show, pro Q&As, live streams, giveaways, all sorts of fun. Theoptionsinsider.com/pro. Now, if you're listening to this show, chances are that you're pretty serious about options trading. So let me put something on your radar. Public. It's the most cost-effective way to trade options. That's because Public is the only platform that gives you rebates on your options trades. They also have some of the industry's lowest index options fees. Whether you're placing single leg or complex multi-leg trades, every dollar counts. Check out public.com/optionsbrief and discover the most cost-effective way to trade options. Again, the Hot Options Report brought to you by Public. Full disclosures in the podcast description. All right, let's get down to business here. Let's start in VIX land, as we like to do, even though VIX doesn't seem to like a lot these days. VIX not putting up size numbers today. 363,000 contracts on the tape. That's against an ADV of 837, so a long way to go to get there. Not even halfway to that ADV today. VIX closing right around 16 3/4 in the cash today, so getting a little bit frothier out there today, but not enough to drive any appreciable volume out there today, listeners. The hot option, such as it was out there, only 20,000 of the NOV 16 puts going up for about 47 cents. In fact, we thought that was interesting, so we put it out as our flash poll to our listeners. Would you rather buy those or sell those for that price, or trade them as part of a spread? Right now, 62.5% of you want to buy those puts for 47 cents, 25% want to sell them, and 12.5% want to buy them as part of a spread. No sellers as part of a spread, which is interesting. As we keep on rolling out to SPY, what's even more interesting, SPY blowing the doors off from a volume perspective. The S looking pretty robust as well. VIX, for whatever reason, can't get out of bed. SPY, 10.2 million contracts on the tape today. That's against an average of just about 7 3/4. So extremely spicy out there in SPY today. And the hot option in SPY, listeners, the 658 calls going up 536,000 times, listeners. That is just explosive paper. Average price for those, 75 cents. SPY pretty much getting right there, closing right around 658, 658.05 to be precise. So those are looking a little rough out there, but maybe you had some chances intraday to get them off if you bought them at better prices. If you sold them, you had to sweat. You popped some Tums, but it worked out all right. As we keep on rolling out to the SPX, like we said, the S was looking hot earlier in the day during our option block show, listeners. Did it finish up hot? The answer was yes. 5.03 million contracts on the tape in SPY. I guess we were all just waiting for a little bit of red on the screen to drive some flow out there, listeners. A hot day out there in the SPX. The S closing off almost exactly 0.5%, to the downside. 66.0472, so pretty much right below the 66.05 level. And what was the hot option on a very hot day out there in the SPX today, listeners? About almost 144,000 of the 6610 calls. Average price for these, 541. So you know the deal. If you paid pretty much that average price for these, you had a rough day, even though intraday you had some opportunities to get out of those bad boys out there. So interesting stuff out there in the S. Let's keep rolling to small caps. Was it a hot day out there in small caps? At this point, the answer was yes. The answer is yes for all of them, except for VIX. For whatever reason, VIX can't get out of its own way these days. Small caps, 1.65 million contracts on the tape against an ADV of about 1.5, so exceeding expectations there as well. IWM closing 239.29, and the hot option out there, nearly 125,000 of the 228 puts expiring in October. So not the dailies, not even the weeklies. It's the monthlies. 228 puts. Average price for these, $1.65. So a little bit of a tighter put strike than we've seen going up out there of late. So interesting stuff out there as we keep rolling out to the Qs. Spoiler alert, hot day in the Qs as well. 5.38 million contracts. That's against an ADV of 4.1 million. So looking hot, looking spicy out there. The Qs closing 593.53, and the hot option out there, 228,000 of the 593 puts, so pretty much at the money puts. Again, these are expiring today. Average price for these, $1.01. So unfortunately, if you rode them into the close and you bought them, not exactly a winner chicken dinner for you. As we keep rolling out to the single names, listeners, was it a hot day? Was it a spicy day in single names? The answer was yes. It started out really hot. We were over 400, closing in on 450,000 contracts to break into the top 10 just by halfway through our option block show, which is a little bit past halfway through the session. As we finished the day, it was still impressive, but we didn't add that much more. 635 is what it cost you to break into the top 10. Again, still impressive, but it seemed like we were on pace for maybe 1 million contracts earlier in the session. Didn't quite get there. Either way, number 10, it's our old pal Oracle, just getting taken to the woodshed today, off a little over 17 handles, about 5.5%, closing 291.33, listeners. Again, putting up 635,000 contracts. And the hot option out there, you can probably guess it's a put, and that was the case. 28,000 of the 290 puts expiring tomorrow. Average price for these, about $3.70. We did get as low as 288.55, so they were in the money ever so briefly today. And this kind of follows a pattern we've seen out there for a while now of aggressively fading Oracle. And this has paid off in the past. Will it pay off? Will we close below the 290 strike tomorrow? Got to tune into the hot options report to find out. As we keep on going to number 9, it's CoreWeave. 126.66 is where this bad boy closed today. Selling off 6 3/4 or about 5% exactly out there. So giving back some to the market gods today, putting up 665,000 contracts. And the hot option out there, 81,000 of the 140s. Now, before you say that's insane, by the way, average price of $1.54. We were flirting with that strike earlier today. Got up to nearly 139 out there today. So that probably makes those 140s look a little bit more palatable to you, even though right now, $1.54. I think most sane people would say sold to you. As we keep on rolling to number 8, haven't seen them in the top 10 in a little bit. It's our old pal, the Monster, a.k.a. MicroStrategy, a.k.a. Strategy. Closing today, $300.70, off 22.61, or about 7% exactly. So they're coming for some of these Bitcoin and crypto-related names today, putting up 793,000 contracts. And the hot option out there today, 29, almost 30,000 of the 355 calls expiring tomorrow, listeners. Yes, you heard that right. The 355 calls. Obviously not trading for much. Average price of about a dime. You could argue that even that was too much. Now, again, before you get all up in arms, looks like there was some OI on that strike, so it's possible somebody was deciding to get the heck out of Dodge. Take whatever was left, in this case about a dime, and live to hopefully fight another day. And that probably makes more sense than someone rolling the bones on the 355s or overriding them to open. But either way, that was your hot option in the Monster today, listeners. As we keep on rolling to number 7, it's our old pal Palantir. 957,000 contracts on the tape out there today, closing 179.12. Kind of bucking the trend out there today, listeners. Lately, we've seen Palantir sell off and then rally. Today, we had it rally and then sell off. So a little bit of an inverse. Either way, you're not bored if you're slinging options in Palantir. Closing 179.12. The hot option out there, 82,000 of the 185s. Once again, hope springs eternal on that strike. Average price of those about $1.12. Did get to 184 and a third, so those are looking a lot better until they weren't. Can we get back there by the end of the day tomorrow, listeners? I'm guessing 83,000 contracts would like to think so, but we shall see, listeners, as we keep on rolling out to number 6. It's the Amazonians, 218.15, putting up 1.03 million contracts today, and the hot option out there, about 63,000 of the 220s. Again, they were in the money for a little while. Got up to 220.67 earlier today. The average price for these, $1.30. So got a little bit of a hill to climb, but not insane on these. Can they get north of 220 by tomorrow? Will tomorrow be the big bounce back, listeners? Or will there be more red on the screen? We shall see. Speaking of bouncing back, number 5, our old pal Open, roaring back to life, up 86 cents today, or 10.5%, closing $9.09, putting up 1.25 million contracts. Open, just absolutely wild beast. And the hot option out there, about 140,000 of the 9 calls. And in the money call for a change, or at least we closed in the money. Average price for these, 35 cents. Got up to as high as 9.21, so that might make a little more sense for you. At that point, would you be buying? They closed in the money, listeners. Would you be sold to you? If you're selling them, you're a brave person. Open can move 3 handles at a clip. So we'll see where Open goes out tomorrow as we keep on rolling out to some other wild names out there of late, including the fruit company, number 4, Apple, putting up nearly 1.3 million contracts today, closing 256.87, rallying another $4.50 or nearly 2%. So this post iPhone love is just really just strong out there. And the hot option out there, 123,000 of the 255s, the double calls. Average price for these, $1.27. In which case, if you bought those, you're already happy. You're 60 cents to the good on these bad boys. So you want Apple to hang out here or keep rallying tomorrow, listeners. If you sold them, you're sweating. You need Apple to drop at least 60 cents by tomorrow's close, listeners. As we keep on rolling to number 3, it's our old pal Intel. Speaking of Apple, rumors they might be circling Intel next. Closing just a tick under $34, $33.99, up 2 3/4 or nearly 9% today. This is the name that was just trading $20 a month and a half ago. So nice little run for them. 2.3 million contracts on the tape for Intel. So a hot day out there. What was the hot option on a hot day? 125,000 of the 35s expiring tomorrow. Average price for these, 35 cents. So they're not giving them away. We did get to 34 1/4 today, but not enough to make the 35s relevant, at least not yet. Can we climb to 35 1/4 by tomorrow, listeners? That seems like a big run for Intel, but then again, it has done it in the past. It did it today, so can we get there by tomorrow's close? We shall find out, listeners, as we keep on rolling to number 2, listeners. It's good old Tesla, giving back to the market gods quite a bit today, selling off nearly 20 handles, or about 4.5%, closing 423.39, putting up nearly 2.6 million contracts. The hot option out there, once again, it's upside. This time it's the 430s. 151,000 of these going up for an average price of $4.50. Right now, they look like a dumpster fire, but we were about 5 handles above that earlier today, so maybe that puts those in a little bit better light for you out there. Right now, listeners, gun to your head, $4.50, 430s. Buying them or sold to you? I think the answer is probably sold to you, but you never know. We could blow through these bad boys by tomorrow, listeners. We'll keep an eye on Tesla. We've been talking 430s and 440s a lot this week. 440s looking rough right now. 430s looking challenging. We'll see how they play out tomorrow. As we keep on rolling to number 1, listeners, it's Nvidia, putting up 3.05 million contracts out there. So a decently active day for them. 177.69 is where they closed, I should say. Up about 72 cents today, not even 0.5%. And the hot option out there, about 338,000 of the 180s. Once again, our old pal, the 180s, rearing their ugly head. 76 cents for these bad boys. So not giving them away. Then again, we did get to 180 1/4 today. So maybe, again, that makes those a little bit more palatable. Can we close tomorrow, listeners? 180 3/4. That's what you need if you're buying those bad boys. Tune into the Hot Options Report tomorrow to find out. That's going to do it for us on today's Hot Options Report. Join us tomorrow on the network for volatility views. On the pro side, theoptionsinsider.com/pro for a whole bunch of fun, unusual activity on options oddities. Before we're back again to wrap everything up for the week tomorrow, another episode of the Hot Options Report. Stay safe out there, everybody.
Check out public.com/optionsbrief and discover the most cost-effective way to trade options. Paid for by Public Investing. Full disclosures in podcast description.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.